Hey, my dear people, how are you doing? I really hope that you are safe and sound within this extraordinary time. I wanted to come live and speak with you. I haven't been in live for a while, and prior to this isolation time and the coronavirus, I was already quite a few weeks in hermit mode. This time has been very, very transformative before, and I've come out now with much more clarity. Of course, what's happening right now is affecting the whole world, and to many people, it's very tough. So I want to come live just to talk with you about that, because I do acknowledge that a lot of people now are going through a very tough time. And I am offering support, I'm offering free support currently for people that are affected by this, who need to have their thoughts organized so that they can make the most out of the situation, out of this challenging time. I am sending much love, light, and healing to loved ones that might currently be fearful about their loved ones, or people that might be losing people as well. So I'm with you. I am literally thinking of everyone. And that's why I want to offer more support. One of the things that I want to speak with you about is the fear that is currently around, which is an obvious factor. And I'm in touch with quite a lot of people who are experiencing a lot of anxieties and a lot of fear, a lot of panic, and all of it is totally understandable. I just want to speak with you about the need and how important it is right now to transform that fear into love, because it comes as two different consciousnesses. So love and trust. Love is trust. So when you trust the situation and are able to use the situation for the purpose, for the positive of it, the better. So the more you're able to do that, the better. I want to just send you a message today to help yourself to do something creative right now, so that you can lift up your spirits, so that you can counteract the fear and the panic, and to somehow come into a place of trust. I know it's not easy, and I totally understand that, but at the same time, because I understand how it's not easy to go and counteract fears and to not be pulled into a downward spiral, I very much understand that. So even more important it is for me to bring you this message today, just to remind you to try and do something that is acting out of love, out of a good feeling, out of positivity, to keep positive even in difficult times. And I'm not saying ignoring the situation. For example, it's obviously very difficult not to see what's happening in the world right now and to not be fed by the news. But I do try to keep the news at minimum, because it can become addictive to people to keep looking at the news and be fed this negative information. It's good to be aware of things, but how you're using that is still, there can be a control about how much news you are letting yourself be fed, and how much you are doing to make yourself feel good right now. So exercise is really great. I know that a lot of people now are not able to go to the gym, including me. So my partner and I, we have now introduced a home workout. It's called, what's it called? It's a page, and I think lots of gyms are doing this now. So you can do your workouts at home. Structure is very important. Even though you're now not going daily to work, it's very important to bring in some structure, because you know, it really helps to lift the spirit and to have a purpose for the day. So if you can create yourself a list of things that you want to do in the week to make yourself feel better, to help yourself and to help others, the more energy you're going to create into your day-to-day, the more purpose the day is going to have. There is always a purpose for why things are happening. Challenges are there to help us. And of course, you know, if you lose people, you're never able to understand why things are happening and what the purpose is of that. But we are here in a limited time. We are not here to live forever. So it is part of our lifetimes and of our being here. Death is part of it. And therefore, I just want to share this. There's always a reason why things are happening beyond what we can understand. And without needing to understand why things are happening, we can always choose how we react to things. And therefore, it's so important to find ways of how to bring ourselves into a space of love. That's why the habits that we are creating is also very important, because habits that we proactively create are proactive habits. They are creating our reality. And if we just automatically go into this mode and letting our thoughts spiral down and reacting out of fear, and what comes with that as well is being irritable, being defensive and pointing fingers and being mad at these people and those people who there's been an insensitive comment, and there to focus on that is taking away all of your space to be able to create positivity. Because what the world really needs right now is more people that are in the space of love, that are in a positive frame of mind. And we can only do that not by controlling what's happening outside of us. We can only do that by controlling what's happening inside of us. So if we understand we are currently going through this in a collective, collectively we're going through this. So the same way this is happening collectively, we will be noticing that energy. So if we're sensitive, this will be making us feel anxious. But if we don't proactively work on our thoughts and on our feelings and on being proactive in the space of love and sharing and caring and having compassion and being kind, if we don't do that, then the collective will be affected by us again. So what we want to do now is not create more of a collective of me society by just thinking of me and being defensive. And I'm saying this because we all have the tendency. It's about coming proactively, and it doesn't happen naturally. It happens out of the desire to want to come into that space. So do not think that this happens naturally. So bring yourself into space proactively, into love, into positivity, into compassion, into kindness. And if there is people out there who are annoying you, instead of being defensive or irritable, try to perhaps counteract that reaction that you're having by doing an act of kindness instead. Perhaps by giving something that might help that person to see a different point of view if you really feel that you need to speak to them. But the more we are reacting to anger, to defensiveness and to negativity in the world and pointing fingers, it's not going to get better, because the energy is what is affecting the earth. And as we've seen, our energy of our collective has contributed to what's happening right now. So I'm a firm believer of everything. There is a reason for everything, and that things happen because there is a cause and effect. Even if we can't understand it now, because we are here a speck of lifetime considered to existence. So, you know, it's important that we stretch our arms to the people in need, and not out of a place of lack of fear, but out of a place of love. It's a consciousness, it's a setting, it's a mindset and heart set setting that we decide to put into us. So I'm not going to go into examples of how I did this. I hope that this is sort of inspiring you for that. And I'm sure you might be doing some of this already, but we all sometimes need a reminder. And for me, it's very, very important that I came live and sent you this message, just to remind you of now, even more than before, become creative, because I know that many people will now be pushed against in a corner, feeling very frightened, feeling very lost. Maybe you've lost your job, maybe you've lost your business, maybe you don't know how to pay the next rent, maybe you don't know how to support your family. All these fears are very existential, and I understand this is very, very, very frightening. More than ever now, people are thinking creatively and thinking, how can they use their skills and their abilities to create something that might help somebody else who might need their services. And this is what I want to challenge you today as well, is to look at your skills and to your potential. What are you capable of doing very well? It might be just the most natural thing that you do every day. And how might that be of help to somebody else? And now's not the time to say, oh, somebody else might not need this and I'm not good enough and stuff like that, because I know this will come in. We tend to say we're not good enough, but right now it's more important than ever for you to believe in your qualities, in your potential, in your skills, because all of this is happening in the first place. People ending up feeling very like the floor is being pulled underneath them, and all of a sudden all the structure and all the security they thought they had all of a sudden is gone. So what I would want you to think of is of the ability of how can you make yourself independently sufficient for you to be able to monetize your gifts, instead of being dependent on other people's businesses and other people giving you a job, because you are more than capable than you think of creating your own life that's independent of other people's businesses. And I truly believe that one of the reasons why this is happening, apart from showing us how we people are treating Earth, because rivers and lakes and seas are clearing up, and actually you can see dolphins and pollution going down and all of that. Apart from the fact that it's showing us on how we are affecting the world, it's also showing us the true values of ourselves and of true values of life, because all of a sudden we are being put into isolation at home. Lots of businesses and lots of jobs and lots of people are now noticing the benefits of being at home, less pollution by driving to work, for example. So the people that can work from home at this point are really in a very privileged position. But then there are people that now have lost their jobs because everything is going online, and for them their jobs might find different ways of being used, whether it's by computers is being replaced. So there's a lot of change happening. And so all these changes are there for a purpose. One, to become more independent, to see the value in oneself more, because if you see the value in oneself in yourself more, you'll be able to walk through what you are fearing. That means you're able to walk through the gates of fear into your fulfillment, which means it's you looking at seeing your potentials, and it's also giving you an opportunity to sit close to your family, be more with them, be more with the people that you love. And a lot of people now, including me, a lot of people are reaching out to other people in need. So, creating groups of like support groups for free, helping other people find solutions. People are calling people in the community and sharing, if you need help, we're here to help you. People were concerned about the welfare of the vulnerable, of the people around them, so they isolated themselves because of caring for other people. So, and this is what the world and the universe wanted you to do all along. They wanted us all to extend an extra arm more to the people in need, and not to just think about us in the smaller circle. That means us, everything that's to do with me, my boyfriend, me, my dogs, me, my mum, my grandma. No, it's about looking beyond that. Who else needs my help? How can I use my abilities and the things that I see in order to help somebody else? And how can I support them? And this we can only do if we work on ourselves, on our fears, and walk through them, because that enables us to have a cup full that we can give. So, and a lot of the misconceptions before that is that people were giving, and then left feeling like they just give and they forget themselves. And that is exactly not what I'm talking about, because there we have to look at what is the reason for you to give and forget about yourself, because then it is because of an internal feeling of lack. I need to give more in order to, to be loved, to be seen, and all of this. I've done this, I've been through that, so there's no fingers pointed here. But right now it's about, how can I love myself? How can I go through my fears in order for me to be able to give to people properly, to share love, to extend an extra arm? Because I cannot do this when I'm low, when I'm emotionally feeling like I'm in lack, like I don't have enough. How can I extend my arm when I'm in that place? And also what happens when you do feel yourself from the inside and are fulfilled from the inside by, doing self-love, going through your fears in order to share with others, what happens is that you are more independent, you're more free, because you have freed yourself of the fears, because the fears are layers on top of you that are making you feel low and in lack. And if you walk through them, they dissipate, they disappear. And this is why I am here loving this work that I do so much, because I understand the concept of fear and love, and that we have to walk through our fears. And it's up to us to make ourselves feel better, because if we're feeling low, if we're feeling depressed, if we're feeling lonely, it is up to us to make the changes, to make the shifts internally. But there's also support that you can find. There's so much support here right now. There's a group of people, a group of coaches that are offering free support that I've gotten into now as well. They're part from my Animas community. They're offering free support to the people that are currently going through challenging times. There are lots of support groups out there. You just have to find the help that you need. It's very important that you go out there and that you seek that help, and don't sink into your into the space that you're in that will just go like a spiral further down. I understand how depression works. I understand how anxieties work, because it is a downward spiral of thoughts that pull you down further, and we then become victims of our own thoughts. But we are the only ones, and we can only do this with desire. We are the only ones to be able to decide, hey, no, I want this to stop. So we can find ourselves some help online at the moment, of course, but usually it's as well, who are the friends surrounding me? Who do I constantly text? Who do I have around me that is having an effect on how I'm feeling? If they're not having a positive effect on us, on you, making you feel good or supporting you, then how can you work on strengthening that inner power to say that's enough, or to say thank you very much for your for what you've said. I know you are trying your best to support me, but I disagree. Or but for me, I need this. It's about you sticking up for what you need and to go for it, because nobody else is going to do it for you. I have, in this past few weeks, when I went into hermit mode, really looked at how can I deepen what I'm working on, because it's not that I felt uninspired with what I was doing, because I felt very inspired, but somehow my messaging became, I became a little bit bored of it, because I was missing out a very, very important part that was very much the key part of why I'm talking about creativity, why I talk about the importance of it. Because in the times when I was going through my addictions and my dependencies, and I released myself from them, creativity was what helped me out. But the key issue were the addictions. So when I speak about creativity, and it all sounds very nice, I felt like my message didn't come across as I wanted it to, and I was wondering why this happens. But this is exactly the point I'm making, is when something's so close to us, we sometimes don't see. And actually, it's not that I didn't see. I think I was not wanting to see, or not wanting to take on the part and the responsibility of the addictions part. That was actually the key point of why I'm talking about creativity. So yes, I am a creative person. Yes, I've always been painting, and yes, it's always been great. But the key thing is that I went through, and that I am an addictive personality that has gone through their addictions. And that's why I want to talk about creativity, because ultimately knowing my own skills and my potential has happened through me going out there to do something creative, something that makes me feel good, because that's helped me out of addiction. And so when I talk about addictions, just so that you can relate with me, it doesn't necessarily have to be an addiction where you are daily taking a hard drug. It can be that, but that's not what I'm talking about. My addictions have been, yes, taking drugs, but they have been drug taking for, let's say, 13 years, every weekend, which, is a habit. It's less the addiction to the substance than that it was the need to have something external to fulfill me. And it became a habit my body got used to it happening every weekend. So as soon as that weekend happened, my body was like, okay, weekend's there, give me what I need on my weekend. So it becomes a habit. The same way with smoking. When I stopped smoking, I read the book from Ellen Carr about Easy Way to Stop Smoking. It really helped me, because it's all about mindset. Smoking, I wasn't addicted to the cigarette smoke itself. It was about the habit. I was smoking when I had a glass of wine. I was smoking after I ate. I was smoking every break. So somehow my body was like alerting me to that cycle. It got used to. It got used to having a cigarette at every moment like this. I also got used to smoking in breaks of work. So that got me out, like in the moments I was smoking and thinking about life and, contemplating. But it was just time wasters, really. It was just taking away of my time. So when I stopped smoking, it wasn't that like I needed it at any moment, apart from certain moments. And the craving went by after 10 minutes or something like this. So I needed to push through 10 minutes, and then the craving was left, and it's fine. But I wanted it, for example, after I had food or when I had a drink. So it's the body actually just getting used to a pattern. It's asking for something that it's used to at certain points of time. So it's connecting, certain events with something. That's why people that you used to take drugs with, or used to drink with, or are around with, that you have a certain pattern with, whether it's to go drinking with them, whether it's to complain about life, whether it's, I don't know, playing games, which, if it becomes too much, if PlayStation or phone games, or scrolling is an addiction. If that becomes something that you cannot control, it's the reward system in your body that's used to that cycle. So that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not sure where you see yourself there, but we all have that, because as people, we are addictive personalities generally, because we have the system that wants to save certain settings in order to not have to learn them as new every single time. So it's really good. But what it does then is that, certain habits that we might have done at first just as an enjoyment, we might then notice, okay, this enjoyment is wanted more and more by our bodies. So there's a body aspect to it, and then the spiritual and emotional aspect to it. And it affects our mental state. So this is why, for me, it's very important that I focus my work on that. I want to focus them on addictions, on repetitive cycles that are happening in your life that you are not benefiting from, but that well, in some way you will be, because you're doing it, you're getting something from it, but it's keeping you from living your fullest potential, from being fully free. Because addictions, I'm not sure if you heard about shadow work, but it's basically work on the ego, and the ego is the fear. Addictions will add more fears, they will strengthen the fears, and they will make it harder to get out of them. That doesn't mean it's impossible. It's very much possible. It's just the desire again, because the desire activates it, and then you change your habits, but then it's down to the desire to keep that new habit going, because your body will want to go back into the same mode. That's why some people say it takes 3 weeks, some people say 66 days, at least 3 weeks, I will say. But you have to keep going by desire. It doesn't come automatically. So at this moment in time, it's very important that we step out of our routines as we knew them, and revisit everything that's going on, and structure our lives creatively, and creativity proactively. So, because we're all creative beings, we all have our creativity, but if we don't proactively channel that energy into how we want it to, proactively, it will become destructive. And that is when addictions are strengthening. And the addictions, because it strengthens the ego, the fear, that strengthens the shadow. So we will have to counteract it with the desire, which is the light. So, and this is what I am very much specializing in. And it's not that I didn't do this before, but somehow I had this light bulb moment that I need to put more emphasis on that, because this is ultimately what it is about. Right now, for example, I am structuring my days differently. I've got my partner in the house, and he is now working from home, which thankfully he can do, so that's very lucky. But we have to come into a routine, because usually I was used to my routine when he was going off to work. And it's different when you have the person all of a sudden in your house. So it's a minor thing, but there again, I noticed how, it threw me off my routine, and now we have to create a new one, which actually is a much better routine. So how to get out of your habits that are not serving you for the better is what I work in now in particular. So I have created a program called Unchained Creatives, and it's helping you to overcome your addictions, overcoming your repetitive cycles that that are not serving you, and that have strengthened your egos, your fears, and you need support with that in order for you to commit to monetizing your creative gifts, because right now it's ever so much more important to use your gifts, your skills, your abilities to monetize them, meaning to make a living of it. And this can start simply by a sideline business. It can start by a business straight away, but use your skills now, because the universe, life wants you to own up to all of your potential and to share it with the world. And as we can see now, lots of people are sharing with the world, and this is the only way the world wants us to work, so that we share, we give love, and that we make our living from that as well. Because all that money is, all that making a living is just energy. And in order for us to be able to do more of what we love and share those gifts, we have to get paid for that. And it's not that you're taking, it's you're giving, and it's just the exchange for that. So I want you to monetize your gifts, because it's you having to look at your full potential and skills and believe in yourself. So if you are wanting to apply for this and you feel that you are ready to overcome those habits that are keeping you from living your true self, your true potential, then please comment under here or send me an email and get in touch with me. It's very important now that you think about your life creatively and do something differently. Share love, do something creative. The other day I was putting on some music online and painting. Just do something to maybe put some music on or so to get your creativity flowing, and act out of the feelings that when you catch good feelings, act out of those. And don't believe the negative thinking that comes when you're feeling low. When you are in a negative thinking spiral, it's not that you're not supposed to believe in those. Observe them and work on them. So acknowledge that space inside of you that needs to be loved, but don't believe those thoughts. Know that they are indicating that there's a place inside of you that needs attention, that needs to be seen. You have to feel that emotion in order for it to go. But when you walk through fear, when you walk through that gate, you will find that you are released of those thoughts, of that negativity. You'll feel lighter, and I can only put it close to your heart to do that. It will make life much, much easier for you. So Unchained Creative is my new program. It's one-to-one. This is for you if you are feeling that you are ready to overcome your cycles, your negative cycles that are not benefiting you at the moment, and you want to finally look at your skills and potential you experience and bring that into your life and into other people's lives. Thank you so much for watching. The universe is here to support you. So if you have any questions, do come and speak to me, and I'm happy to have a conversation with you about any of your fears that you're currently having. Much love. Stay well. Bye.